Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. For today's video, we got a video by Young Mustard, link to his channel description below, titled The Top 4 Overrated Players of the 2020 NBA Season. Always controversial whenever you bring up overrated players, man, because that means there's people out there that think that player is properly rated, right, guys? So before we get going on today's video, guys, we are getting so close to 100K subscribers. There's like 56% of you that watch my videos and subscribe, man. Now is the time to do it. Please help me grow the channel. I appreciate it. And here we go, man. Top 4 overrated players of the 2020 NBA season.
Without further ado, let's get...
Who do you guys think it is? Name them in the comment section below. I'm going to say, I'm not going to guess because I saw a thumbnail, but yeah.
On with this video, starting with number 4. Coming in at number 4, we have the one and only Paul George.
Paul George, really?
One of the better two-way players in the NBA.
Let's hear him out.
20-point-per-game scorer that can go out there and defend at an elite level and can also give you some solid offensive production. But the problem that I see with Paul George is that a lot of people look at the Clippers as juggernauts, and the two names that they mention are Kawhi Leonard and
I think it's their depth mostly, but that's just me.
They should, because those are the two best players on the team, not just because of what they provide offensively, but also defensively. But when I look at Paul George this season, I think a lot of people are not realizing that he has been very inconsistent, because during the first half of the season, Paul George put up relatively solid numbers of 23 to 24 points per game, 6 rebounds and 4 assists.
Well, we also look at that too, but you also like because he's talking about 2020 NBA season, he's not saying Paul George is overrated, just maybe overrated this season, right, guys? Because you look at what he was doing last year in OKC, this man was literally like in the running for MVP. He was like top 5 MVP votes or something like that, or at least he should have been.
While shooting 43% from the field, around 40% from 3, and 91% from the free throw line. And those are really good numbers. We all know what Paul George is capable of putting up. But when you look at the numbers that he has put up since he's returned from his injury in January, yeah, those numbers are not as great. He's averaging 17 points, 4 assists, and 5 rebounds, while shooting 43 to 44% from the field, 41% from 3, and 81 to 82% from the free throw line. And those numbers are not bad. The efficiency is even better in certain areas,
many offensive options on the team.
Three-point percentage in comparison to the first half. But the problem that I see is that when a lot of people talk about how great the Clippers are, Paul George is held in a regard as if he is a superstar, and I just don't think he is that anymore. His offensive productivity
I don't think it's not that he's not a superstar. I just don't think he needs to be a superstar on the Clippers. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but just like straight up, it's like, because last year he was asked to do so much. Russell Westbrook had a great season last year with OKC, kind of deferred a little bit to Paul George, which is what he should have done, right? But like besides for that, I mean, there wasn't too much going on with the Thunder last year, so Paul George really had to take over. Like, I could see Paul George really putting the team on his back with Kawhi Leonard come playoff time, assuming we get to see the playoffs. But I think regular season, just based off like injury history and stuff like that, I think he's just kind of coasting the season, letting Lou Williams and guys like that score the basketball. So I do think we'll see playoff P come playoff time.
Over the last month of the season,
but I get what he's saying,
was that of Montrezl Harrell. Montrezl Harrell was actually even contributing more in terms of points per game over the last 15 to 17 games of the season. And I'm sorry, I know Paul George is a really good player, but a superstar does not get outscored by a bench player on his own team. I don't care if he's going to win the 6th Man of the Year or not. If he's as good as a lot of people said he was coming into the season and how they were boosting this Clippers team because of their dynamic duo of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, then I think that we need to have that same energy.
I do like how they run it better now.
Not living up to those expectations on the offensive side of the ball. Especially when you talk about teams like the Lakers, who have juggernauts on the offensive side, such as LeBron and Anthony Davis. Paul George can't be this inconsistent. And if it is injuries that is causing Paul George to be like this, then so be it. But that is a part of Paul George. Paul George has always been an injury-prone player, and we saw it in OKC.
Well, that's another thing to attest to the Clippers' depth, is that I don't think the Lakers have nearly as much depth as the Clippers do. So, I mean, LeBron, AD, they can't have those games where they just chill like Paul George does. You got Marcus Morris or Reggie Jackson or Lou Williams, Montrezl to back you up. Of course, the Lakers got a really good deep squad, but I think that there's more weight on LeBron and AD's shoulders overall.
and we're seeing it right now with the Clippers. And when you look at the entirety of Paul George's career, he has struggled to be a second option on teams. We saw it in 2017 when he was with Russell Westbrook and he was very inconsistent, and we're seeing it right now with the Clippers. I think Paul George's game flourishes more when he is the #1 option.
Damn, when you're in Detroit so bad, then he'd be amazing in Detroit.
I think the inconsistencies are going to continue, and if that happens in the postseason, I would not be surprised, especially considering Paul George's playoff history. The point of me bringing up Paul George in this video is basically to say, coming into this year, we viewed Paul George as a top 10 player in the league. But right now, can you even make that kind of argument anymore? Because we already got young guys that are passing up Paul George, such as Luka Doncic. And how soon is it going to be before a guy like John Morant, Zion Williamson, Trae Young, all those guys will pass Paul George up, especially if these inconsistencies continue in his game. But moving on to player number 3, I got Hassan Whiteside, and we're also going to...
Good choice. Hassan Whiteside, it's not that, it's just my opinion, I don't think Hassan Whiteside's a bad player. I just think the way that Hassan Whiteside contributes to the game of basketball is no longer really like viewed upon as something that's needed. Like, you no longer really need those inside centers that... I don't know, man. It's like you can get by with so much, like with so much less. You know what I'm saying? Like the Golden State Warriors for years, you have like Kevon Looney and guys like that. Hassan Whiteside, he puts up good numbers, but I think he's like the definition of empty stats.
To talk about number 2, which is Andre Drummond. The reason I decided to lump both of these guys together
both at the same time,
is because as great as these guys can put up numbers and all of that, let's be honest, they are just not impactful.
Yep,
and
I agree.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the traditional 5 and just how it's not that valuable in the NBA. For starters, let's look at Andre Drummond. He was on the trading market for a considerably long amount of time before he was traded to the Cavaliers. And look at the team that got him, the Cavs. It wasn't the Celtics who needed a center, and a lot of people said they should trade for Andre Drummond.
Yeah,
it wasn't the Rockets who are deciding to put Robert Covington and PJ Tucker at the center instead, but it was the Cavs, a team that already has Tristan Thompson and Kevin Love in their front court, but then they decided to add a big piece such as Andre Drummond. And you want to know why? It's because his value is just not that high in the league. His contract is ridiculous, and if I'm being honest, if the Cavs are going to give him that max contract and overpay him,
the new mediocre
they
team
are
of the East.
Retarded. But when you look at Andre Drummond, what does he do that a lot of other setters can't do? Look at Tristan Thompson and Andre Drummond. What is the big difference between both of those players? And the same thing goes for Hassan Whiteside, but the only difference with him is that he's an elite shot blocker. I'll give him that. But defensively, when you look at Hassan Whiteside and Andre Drummond, they are lazy. They have the physical tools to be great defenders, but they're just not.
Anytime my girlfriend watches the Pistons with me, that's what she always like says. Is like she just says like, damn, like Andre Drummond, like he just looks lazy, like freaking always trotting down the court and stuff like that. So
they're slow-footed on pick and rolls.
Good
take. They
take.
Can't switch well, and they foul a lot. That does not contribute to wins. And I mentioned this earlier. Their motor is terrible. Both of these guys do not seem like they actually care about winning games. That was his knockoff before he got drafted. Andre Drummond does not play a lot of defense sometimes because he wants to pad his rebounding numbers. And when you look at Hassan Whiteside, I find it pretty funny that he's having a little bit of a resurgence year in Portland, the year that his contract is coming to a close.
Yes,
so
sir.
when it comes to both of these players, they don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. And I think that the Golden State Warriors indirectly have killed the value of guys like Andre Drummond and Hassan Whiteside in the NBA.
Which is why I'm very curious what happens with James Wiseman in the draft. I'm very curious what happens with him.
Because all you really need from a center is to defend the rim, get boards, hustle, and also catch some lobs and do some offensive moves here or there when you're required to. That's Kevon Looney. That's all you need from a center.
Yes,
and
sir.
Andre Drummond, Hassan Whiteside, these relics from the past, we need to leave them there, the past. But moving on to the final player that we have at number 1, I'm just saying, like, straight up, like, all these years, you know, all you had to do to get in the NBA or make, like, the basketball team and stuff was be tall. And it's like, that's all you need to be done. But now it's like to the day where you don't really need that anymore. So these centers shouldn't be getting max contracts. You should be getting like $3.2 million a season or something like that. With
no
Devin
longer needed.
Booker. Now
a short
here
guys,
we go.
A 3-point
part of the video where a lot of people.
Wait, what did you just say?
I'm going with Devin Booker.
I gotta hear this. Damn.
Here we go.
Woo. This is the one right here we gonna get roasted on the most.
The video where a lot of people are going to get angry.
Yep.
Look, Devin Booker is a really solid young player.
I like hot takes.
The NBA. And I definitely think the all-star stuff, that was kind of sad that he didn't make the team, especially considering guys like Trae Young were in the starting lineup who have worse teams than his.
Right?
I definitely understand that argument. But when I look at Devin Booker and how bad that Phoenix Suns team has been for years, not just this year, but previous years in the past, when are we going to start giving him some culpability about how bad this Phoenix Suns team is over and over and over? And I know a lot of people's argument is usually talent not being on his team.
That's what I was going to say.
You could kind of make that argument with DeAndre Ayton, but he still has other pieces on his roster. Kelly Oubre, Ricky Rubio, Mikal Bridges, Dario Saric, Frank Kaminsky, Aaron Baines, Cameron Johnson.
To me, it's the same issue as the Minnesota Timberwolves, and that's just that they're in the wrong conference. If they were playing the Eastern Conference, probably be a playoff team every single season, at least as like an 8 seed.
None of those players I mentioned are scrubs. They all contribute in a solid way to help a team win games. And when you look at Devin Booker's flaws, they are very noticeable. Defensively, he is not good whatsoever, doesn't even really show effort on that side of the ball. And when it comes to his shot selection, yeah, it's not very good. Sometimes he takes bad shots as if he's those guys at the Rec that think that they're Kobe. And then when you look at his turnovers, he turns the ball over at an alarming rate, and it's damn near the exact same as it was last year. And it shouldn't be like that when you have Ricky Rubio to take that ball handling responsibility.
Yeah, if you're running things through Devin Booker, then this team should have never got Ricky Rubio in the first place. That's the thing, is Devin Booker's going to always want the ball in his hands. And Rubio is a guy that you play through just because of him being like the natural point guard and stuff like that. So, I mean, I just think Rubio on the court with Devin Booker just hurts them more so than anything.
Away from you.
So like a Devontae Graham type of guy.
Excuses why he turns the ball over the way
Terry
that he
Rozier.
does. The fact of the matter is,
Cody Zeller,
you
somebody
cannot
from the
go through seasons losing year after year after year. Your team is adding top picks from the draft year after year after year because you keep losing so much. And then your record is getting
Cam
worse,
Johnson was
but
suspicious.
Your numbers are getting better. And Devin Booker does not get a pass for not making the playoffs. Because look at all the great young talent that are entering the NBA year after year. Whether it's John Morant taking the Grizzlies further than a lot of people expected.
That's a good
because
point.
Nobody thought that they would make the playoffs. Or you could look at Zion Williamson already having a positive effect on the Pelicans and them pushing for a playoff spot before the season was canceled. Or you could look at Luka Doncic.
That is a great point. I mean, yeah, I have no argument for that. And it's not like the Memphis Grizzlies or, I mean, yeah, obviously like the Pelicans got like Brandon Ingram and guys like that. And Devin Booker don't really got a player like that on his team. But I look more so like the Grizzlies. You know, Jaren Jackson's cool. Why hasn't Devin Booker been able to lead him to the playoffs?
Already in his second year, carrying the Mavericks to a playoff berth. At the end of the day, some type of responsibility must be put on Devin Booker's shoulders for why the Suns consistently fail year after year.
I think he needs
I'm
that
not
second
saying
guy.
He's the main problem, but he has to be a part of the problem. And something has to be said for players coming into the NBA that are younger than Devin Booker, that are already leading their teams to playoff contention. Meanwhile, Devin Booker's been in Phoenix for years and hasn't even sniffed.
Yo, Booker and Luka would have been amazing.
But that concludes this video. Before I send you guys off,
okay, guys, that is the end of the rankings right there. I mean, yeah, I think the man spoke facts out there. It's like whether you like it or not. Especially when it comes to Hassan Whiteside injury, I agree with that 100%. So, guys, what do you all think about this? Let me know in the comment section below. Check out the man's channel, and peace out.